makes you wonder how in control of this machine are you?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like
testing your powers.
Well, okay, so I recently been obsessed with this quote that I heard. Right, don't believe everything you think.
Yeah, I like that.
And so there's many thoughts that happen, and you wake up with all this craziness in your head. You know, so you're kind of the selector of those thoughts, and that becomes your reality. So what is your reality? What are you selecting? So you're constantly bombarded.
Yeah,
I feel you completely, dude.
No, yeah,
you know?
I feel you. I've had many thoughts about that kind of same thing. It's
so who are you and who are you and who am I and who are you? We're kind of just organisms growing in the atmosphere. We're changing. Right?
That's what.
It's not about who we are. It's who we are right now.
I talk about this from time to time, but I really started trying to like actively start meditating. We were talking about, and I like looked into it and like what you're really supposed to be doing.
That's so hard.
And it is hard until you understand the philosophy behind it. Once I understand, because every time anybody ever tries to explain meditation to me, it's always some kind of like weird, like, oh, just focus on your breathing, or like I don't know, just try to focus on this. And it's like I can't do something that I'm not convinced is going to help me. Like I can't commit to something and I'm like, maybe this will work. I don't have faith. I'm not a very faithful person. If I can convince myself enough of something, I will commit to it if I know that it's going to end up well. But I don't just blindly believe in shit. So if you're telling me, oh, you just do this a couple times a day and then you'll get it. Well, fuck you. Tell me why I'll get it, and then I'll do it. It's just one of those things. But I started to understand what it was really about. And what it was really about was why do you focus on your breathing? It's interesting because breathing is something that you do both consciously and unconsciously. When you focus on breathing, I can't make my heart beat on command.
Do you breathe or does someone breathe you?
So what it is about is you step back and you observe your body breathing. And then you become in tune with how much of who you are is really just automated.
Dude, it's scary shit.
Some crazy shit.
It is scary
and it's tough. I fucking suck at it.
Who beats your heart? Is that you?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Do that?
Breathing is the only kind of internal thing well, I guess blinking as well. Blinking is, but that's harder.
Sure.
Are you trying to tell me? Way less
dope. How about like your body is trying to maintain an ocean environment in your body? So every 2 hours you go and you just empty water out of your water, just gushes out of you.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Are you trying to tell me my fucking brain is an alien?
No, but like your body's like a fucking
I'm trying to tell you that
it's like a planet.
You don't know anything what you know just as much what's going on in life as anyone that's ever lived. Your grandparents don't know. Their grandparents.
Why'd you
know.
have to touch me on my thigh for?
I have no idea.
It's like you were trying to comfort me.
Because now I'm gay. I wasn't gay the whole time, but now I am.
We popped the seal on that one, dude. We broke the seal.
I just came out. I like your smell.
It smelled right. Yeah.
2.5 beers down. That's when Archie gets gay.
That's what happens. Yeah.
I don't know, dude. You just once you start to become in touch with that, then you start to
meditation is insane, man, because it's like it's like pushing away thoughts because you're and dude, I want to meditate, but it's just
time flies, dude.
It's hard.
I was
it's
sitting
pushing
there.
away thought. You're like, what? All I have is thought.
It's tough. It's literally like working out. It's like literally like you can.
I
feel
work
your
out,
brain.
and I'd rather work out. Meditation is just another kind of like lift. Ugh.
It really is. It just is because what it really is about is the one part I'm really trying to have a hard time kind of understanding at this point is I understand why it's important, which is why I can kind of commit myself to it. But it's the focusing on the now. This is the only thing, I guess. If you believe you have control over anything, that thing would be right now.
So how about so have you ever like driven like say like from here to your house or whatever, and you get to your house and you're like, I don't even remember driving here.
Yeah.
Is that like meditation? Is that kind of like what meditation is?
It's kind of like a meditative state.
Your body's like automated in a way.
Where
absolutely.
It's like I've done this so much.
But the only difference between meditation is that you didn't observe it, because your body is doing automated things all the time. Dude, I remember I would walk home from school, and every time I hit a certain street on my way back from school, I would just all of a sudden have to take a shit. It would just hit me.
Yeah,
it would just hit me. Like I would get to a certain point, I started realizing when my body gets close to home,
Yeah, dude.
It just says, all right, time to do this shit. But it's like, I didn't I didn't set that to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it just does that.
Right.
I didn't, like, how does my body know it's home? And like, because I know it's home, and I am my body.
Well, your body is like, it's like a large percentage of it is bacteria. And it's hardly you and your body. So your mind does not show up on an MRI.
Yeah.
You can take an MRI. There's no mind. So the mind produces thoughts. Well, where's the mind? I don't. You can't.
I remember asking in 5th grade.
Who the fuck's thoughts is it?
Yeah.
They had a diagram on the projector, on the overhead projector, and it was like a diagram of like the human man, and you could see all the bones inside and like where the heart and the liver was. And I raised my hand, and completely seriously, I said, "Miss Shank, where's the soul?"
Hey.
I was like, "Where's the soul? Where does it go?" I was looking for it because everybody kept on telling me
the soul
humans
leaves
have a
the
soul.
body.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I asked it, and everybody started fucking laughing at me. And I was like, was I the only one who fucking believed this shit? I know all you motherfuckers also were looking for the soul.
It's somewhere in there.
You were in 5th grade, dude. We're in 5th grade. You're 10 years old. You're telling me you don't know that there's not a soul in your body? I definitely thought I had a soul when I was 10, dude. How smart were you?
It's a construct just like the human body. We think that this is my liver, these are my kidneys, this is my stomach. No, it's all one thing.
It's all you.
It's not. You know, and it's crazy. Like, what is you? Like, we'll even say like, I'm getting my ankle worked on. Your ankle? Is it your ankle? Is it the ankle? Mm-hmm. It just gets weird, man. Like, who are you? Or by the way, you go to bed every night and you just pass out with.
Yeah.
Who is that? Who does that?
Who's that guy?
That's so true.
Where do you go?
It's weird. So adults walking around all confident. I know how you know. No one knows anything. This is weird.
That's
You know
what
what's-
that's
this
what
is
DMT
weird.
taught me. Was that
I would be interested to
nobody
try
knows
DMT.
anything.
You know, I was talking about, we were talking about that on the last podcast, and they were talking about Terrence McKenna, and I like Terrence McKenna. I listened to a lot of his stuff, but the only like thing that I had about it was, well, a lot of it focuses about the revelations you have while on drugs, and like, here's how many doses you need to do to have this experience, and you take this many hits, and it's like, I don't necessarily agree that you need to do those things to experience what he's talking about, and I feel like a lot of his narrative relies on that.
well?
No,
it's
yoga
per
does the
person.
same thing, and all the like, the whole
It's all about
not about
just introducing
the psychedelics.
openness to your mind. I think you can achieve
totally.
that elsewise, I would say.
Totally. It's not about mushrooms and acid. It's not.
You know,
But they help.
Yeah.
I guess. But
everything helps. That's why we take
But
it.
I've seen a bunch of people take acid and mushrooms, and they're just still fucking douchebags. I've seen this so many times that like it's not. It's about going to sleep is probably the most psychedelic thing you'll ever do. Mm-hmm. And taking a piss is super psychedelic, and just being a human being.
Super. How was your piss, dude? Psychedelic.
Yeah. You don't
That is
need
the best way to
you
say
don't need acid and you don't need all these psychedelic drugs. No,
Just pee.
just the awareness of who breathes. Do I breathe or am I breathed?
Well, that's
That's
also
enough to be like
also
this
the thing with like when you do mushrooms and all that stuff is like some people go into it with like the mindset of like I'm gonna learn something here, but some people go into that mindset of I'm gonna learn something here because they're like told that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So they don't really get what they're actually supposed to be getting out of it because they're looking so hard.
It
It's
all
really
comes-
about just sitting there and fucking letting it take you over.
It all comes back to the same.
Well, dude,
Yeah.
honestly, this is what I was gonna bring this up earlier, and this kind of brings it back. You were kind of talking about like meditation and not knowing how to progress, and like kind of trying to look for answers. Like, were you looking it up online or something, or I don't know?
What you mean? Like I watched a couple of videos about it,
Yeah,
just to understand why it was important.
I feel like the thing about meditation though is fine because like I feel like everyone's different. I feel like everyone does things differently, and I feel like the thing about meditation is learning about yourself. So I think like it's not something like I don't know, like you were talking about people, you know, doing drugs for the experience or wanting to do them because they think they need. And I think those kind of go hand in hand. I feel like it's instead of going into the experience for the experience.
Well,
you're trying to figure out how to elevate the experience.
What
I
I'm-
think you should try to go for a more natural
What
thing
I'm,
with it.
what
Good
I'm,
point.
I guess,
I like that.
I guess what I would say to that is that a lot of what meditation is much like working out. It's a discipline, and it strengthens your mind so that your mind, for instance, just like working out, like when you do bicep curls, you're not necessarily training for eventually in your life we're going to have to curl something heavy and you're going to be ready for it. What you're really doing is building your body up so that in everyday life you're just stronger as a person. So like meditation, what that does is it allows your mind to achieve that level of openness and understanding on a day-to-day basis because your mind has been trained that way. That way you're not reliant on DMT or psychedelics and things like that. You can achieve that through your own discipline.
Right.
You know, after my mom died,
Absolutely.
I like had this like thing with myself where I said I was going to spend at least 15 minutes a day doing what I like to call deep thought, which is where I step back and think shit like we were just saying, like who's really in control of this.
You said you
and
do
all
that
stuff.
when?
I do it like 15 minutes a day.
That's pretty much meditation.
I'll
dude.
just, you want one?
No.
I'll just sit there and I just think about like everything that's happened in my life and everything that like experiences that other people have had that they've told me, and like what's the end game with everything, you know? Like at the end of the day, is it just like you die and it's just you know, like what nobody everybody has all these theories, nobody knows what really happens.
It can't be that. I mean, I don't know. It's like we're all tuned into the same thing.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like it's like the idea of the what is it called? The collective conscious, where it's like in different parts of the world, like everybody thinks the same thing, but it's
Yeah.
all. But you know,
Yeah.
it's each section of the world has their own thoughts
It's
on shit,
funny.
and they can't get agree.
What helped
with other
me,
sides of the
what
world.
helped me to think, and I'm not saying this is definitely the right way of viewing it, but a way that's definitely helped me come closer to it is I picture like our brains or something like that, like an antenna. And what really got me about that was when I was like looking into like resonation and how that works, like how like in physics, like a certain oscillation can capture another thing's natural frequency, and that begins to oscillate at the same frequency.
Right.
Like resonation, like when something resonates with somebody, how that happens. And how, okay, so like how right now, if I had a tuner, I could tune in to 1090 AM or 106.5 or 93.1, and all these airwaves are going on around us at all times. 1090 is happening right now. I'm just not tuned into it. I can't hear it. It's beyond my consciousness. And so when I thought about like the brain, like a little radio antenna, you kind of tune in to what resonates. And that's what really got me was like when they say you control your reality. And like the whole thing, what is it, the photoelectric effect? What am I thinking about? Am I thinking about the particle wave duality? How watching.
Yeah, way beyond me.
No, you know what I'm talking about. When they launched,
Not sure, man.
you know what I'm talking
okay.
about?
Okay.
The photon. They were trying to discover
lasers.
if light was a wave or a particle, and they realized.
Oh, I've
yeah,
seen
yeah,
this. Yeah.
And they realized that
If it's observed, it looks
It's
different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It collapses the wave function.
Dude.
Because in reality, waves behave as a function of probability, and the conscious observer forces it to become a point on the scale, and that point is our
Terrence
reality.
McKenna describes science as just like toys. Like, and I'm gonna get this wrong, but it was something like, yeah, like science works, but it's just toys. It's just like little things that you can play with that helps you.
It's just
that
us
you know
trying-
how far Jupiter is.
It's just us
But
trying to
does
figure
that
out. Yeah.
does that help you piece together what life means?
Yeah.
No.
And that's the
it's
one.
just relativity.
That's the one thing that kind of.
And I'm not
always-
shitting on science. I think
Yeah.
it's
Well,
great.
it's
I mean,
like-
people
it's
smarter
like
than
wh-
me.
It's like imperial versus metric, you know? Like we use foot, and then everyone else uses a meter, you
It's
know?
all-
Like we're still living in the same reality, but we just call shit differently.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And-
or even like with language or anything like that.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's weird because like we base our whole realities off of the language and how we describe things.
That's
And-
true.
And you're talking about earlier, like we don't have like a kidney, we just have our body. We just say it's a kidney. Like that could be anything.
Yeah,
that's
and
just
that's-
what we call it.
Right.
Like for instance, gravity
So-
existed. Gravity existed for gravity exists. Gravity exists,
Yeah.
and it wasn't until 17 whatever when
They
some guy was
just
like,
gave it a term.
"This is what it
Yeah.
is." But it's always been
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Everything's always fallen to the earth at negative
Sure.
9.81 meters per second.
Sure.
Yeah.
Always.
And it might not
Sure.
even be that because we don't know what
That's
the
just
fuck it really
that's
is.
just what we call it. Just
Yeah.
like a
That's
Chinese
what it is
person-
right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's just what we call it.
Have you
It-
guys
Based on
heard,
our
like,
measurement system.
Yeah.
There's like, I was listening to something the other day. They were talking about how like they can date like human life back to like the oldest human thing that they found was like 150,000 years old. And like they did like an ice core study in Iceland that revealed like 14,000 years ago there was like a dramatic change from it being like, you know, like negative degrees on a global scale to like 4 degrees, and like it was like a 25 to 30 degree jump that there was.
it was
in,
the end of
like-
the ice age.
Yeah, in like 5 years, and then we're all freaking out about a 2 degree change over like 100 years, which is fucking nothing in the perspective
And
of things.
That's a real thing, and that's a thing I feel like a lot of people fall into trouble with.
But what happened to the people that were alive? Fucking.
Well,
I mean, you'd like,
What happened with the ice age was you saw, because what we consider human, like the genus Homo, is entailing of Neanderthals, Homo sapiens. That's why we're all Homo sapien,
Yeah,
Homo
combination,
neanderthalis,
yeah.
Homo erectus. We're all humans.
Right.
We're all humans. But what we consider the modern human being is Homo
Very
sapiens
much
sapiens.
Neanderthal, actually. I think most of us is like ape and Neanderthal.
Well, Neanderthal is a species of human, just like we are a species
And
of
they
human.
died off, but somehow they're part
but,
of us.
Yeah, like what
Yeah.
species of humans came? Like I think that like
It's a combination.
maybe the ice age was caused by a fucking like
I
global
didn't mean to cut you
nuclear,
off. You had a good point.
like a nuclear winter type thing. Maybe that's what caused the ice age.
It's just how what causes. I mean, it's always been
How
as
the
a
Grand
result.
Canyon happened.
It's always been as a result to what's happened to us.
Miracles.
It's always been us just observing what's happened. That's all science is. We're just trying to figure out what's already going on. We're not creating anything. We're not making anything happen. All we're doing is finding out how it's happening. That's all technology is.
Yeah, all this is just us becoming a statistic for 200 years from now.
And that's why I don't think.
That's all this is.
Well,
Like, people were alive when these historical things happened, and that's us.
Yep. Yeah.